I witnessed miracle after miracle, and I've never had that experience before. It has been a non-stop outpouring of volunteers in the community. Gene has brought out the best in people.
113 M 1 9 8 7 2 8 3 283 December 1 December 1st December I, he looked at 1 2 3 3 December I go.
We have
7.
students who it may take more than a year to figure out where they have an access on their body that they can control, to say yes or no, or to control a switch for movement. For some students, in lay cerebral palsy terms, putting your eyes up means yes. We have some students who do not have control over that much eye movement to say yes by putting their eyes up.
December I Go Store by Hanukkah, G-I-F-E. Or do you want to say gifts? Hanukkah gifts.
Let me just interrupt for a minute because I'm just worried about time. We're on a very tight shooting schedule. So is there a way to help Eugene communicate faster so that we can understand what it is he's trying to say? I mean, Eugene, would you like Ed to help you?
But one of the things that we work on in school is this process of Eugene not relying on people to fill in the thoughts. It's kind of a fill in the thought. In other words, what we don't want Gene to do is cue us and then have us say, oh, you mean the da-da-da-da-da. It's very important for him to be explicit about exactly what he means, because then he controls his communication and he's not dependent on the willingness of a listener or of a partner.
It takes time to get to learn and know a disabled person. You and I walk up to someone and say, hi, how you doing? And if someone doesn't answer in 20 seconds, you're gone. Well, it's going to take some of our kids 1 minute to get the first word out, let alone the rest of the sentence.
I bad store. I bad store. I am bad in a store. You're saying, I'm not good in the store, paying money, because of the time. Because of time.
Some of them have given up dreaming because they don't think things are possible. And one of my goals is to help them dream and look at the realities of what in fact they can or can't do.
You didn't get to pay, you didn't get to take care of buying your own things. So, would you like to go in a store where they gave you time and you could control how everything happened, got the money out, counted it? See, you'd like to do that. Would you like to do that? Right.
For Eugene, I knew that he was interested in his heritage of being both Russian and Jewish, and I knew that most young adolescent Jewish boys make bar mitzvahs. And so I first explored whether or not it would be possible. I didn't want to bring up something that would not have been a possibility.
When Mrs. Scharf, the social worker from Gene's school, called me to ask about what the community might do for him, she told me that he had been very depressed. He had been going to school there and was very despondent and didn't want to study, and they just couldn't get him motivated. I coincidentally just read a magazine article about Dr. John Eulenberg and called him, found out about his ability to create artificial voice. And coincidentally, he knew Gene and was fully committed to doing it as soon as he found out about the idea of a bar mitzvah.
The celebration of becoming a bar mitzvah, son of the commandment, an adult, someone responsible, resonates with the whole purpose of assistive technology, which is to help people be part of the world.
If it was possible for Eugene to have jumped out of his chair, he did. I have never ever seen him so excited. And this to me is doubly amazing because he had never seen a bar mitzvah.
Do you know how we keep track of time in Judaism? One of the ways we keep track of time is by the moon. And so we need to learn a little bit about it and think a little bit about how the moon works and why we might keep track of time that way. Have you ever been outside and watched the moon at night? Does the moon always stay the same or does it change? It changes? Okay, so you know how sometimes the moon is very small, and sometimes the moon is big, sometimes the moon is full. And on those nights there's a lot of light, and sometimes there's no moon at all. Think back to a time before there were electric lights or even gas lights. The only light were the fires that people can make for themselves. That time of the month, when there's no moon at night, it's a scary time. So when the moon would come back, it was a special day, because it would be the beginning of a new light. So there's something about that day that has to do with your life also, and we have to try to figure out what that beginning, what the new light has to do with your bar mitzvah.
What we did in the beginning stages was we learned the Hebrew characters and symbols, and I spent some time learning how to pronounce Hebrew, the Hebrew alphabet. How many do I remember? Okay. Can you find Reish?
Reish.
Very good. Can you find Gimel?
Hey, you're getting really fast at this. Okay, let's keep going. What letter is that? At first, when I would go, we would sit there and it would just be very, you know, this is what you do, and he would just program his computer. But by the end, we just had a friendship. It's not just a, you know, I'm tutoring him for his bar mitzvah. You're going to dump me again? What is this?
I would meet with him for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and we would be fortunate if we were able to write 1 or 2 sentences. It took a great deal of time, but that was no obstacle whatsoever for him. He was determined to do every single piece of the work for today and not have anybody do it for him. Gene, to start your talk, we have to imagine everybody who's sitting there, okay? Do you think a few people will come? Yes. People there. Okay, so, but a lot of people, some of these people may never have even been to a synagogue before, right? Some of the Jewish people may not know why there's a service on this day, because it's on a Sunday, and they're not used to coming to synagogue on a Sunday. And it's going to, so you need to teach them why we're having this service, why this is a special service where we're going to be reading the Torah. So the first thing you may want to talk about is to teach people what today is. Not just that it's your bar mitzvah, but what kind of day it is. So let's think about how you would want to begin that. How would you start a sentence to explain what today is about?
The bar mitzvah ceremony and the preparation for it is full of this emphasis on literacy and speaking. And so how distant that might seem for a boy that can't speak at all.
His mother gave birth to him, and John Eulenberg gave him speech.
Okay. Ty znajesz, gdzie a pierwsza bukwa. Pierwsza bukwa. Ciocia Lisa? Ciocia Lizard. You want to hear it? Go ahead. You can speak it out. Okay, now do a backspace now, for heaven's sakes.
He really has visions about people. He has a vision that people should be given this gift of speech. No matter what the disability is, he will figure out a way to work around it.
It's like if your toe is over on this side, there'll be more pressure on the A than on the B. Get it? You want me to hook it up and show you? Okay. When you're ready.
I think Gene regards him in that way as the person that gives him something that no one else can give him.
Push it down.
He will sit with Gene for hours and explain things. He just doesn't present the technology. He includes Gene in the entire process.
He has good control over his foot. He's been using it for so many years with his wheelchair and also with video games. And so Steve Blosser, back at our laboratory, our engineer, said that he thinks that Eugene has a lot of his brain cells devoted to just foot control. And what do you think? Probably true. More than most people.
My computer will not work.
Before he had this system, he had another communication device. And you can see he's expressing a lot of discontent with that system. And I think that along with having an idea to become a bar mitzvah came the idea that he could also have another communication system, one that was much better.
Okay, so what have we got so far?
Today is.
Okay, great. Today is Hanukkah. No? All right, we have to remember now, what was this day? Do you remember what the day is?
It's all the more important for him to assert his intelligence, his dedication to adult purposes, his seriousness, because people see him and in a wheelchair, not able to speak, and they might also think he's not able to think.
Let's hear the whole sentence now, what that first sentence is going to sound like.
Today is Rosh Chodesh.
Sounds great.
So one of the things that we'd really like to do is have him use his system like he uses his language board. He has a language board that's broken up into categories of people, verbs, descriptors, nouns, and places.
There are the numbers 0 through 9 around the border, and Eugene looks at them. Eugene, why don't you look at, say, 1, 5, 9. Look at, there's 1, then 5, then 9. The number 220 means that he's going to use the alphabet. He's going to spell. So, Gene, could you spell dog for me? Okay, 4 is D, 1, 5 is O, 7 is G. D-O-G. And then he says 5, E, D, dog, Ed. Okay.
One of the long-range plans and goals for Eugene's system is having him use the Russian at home with his family, use the English here at school, and continue his Jewish education with the Hebrew.
When Eugene uses his device, he, at that point, is on the same footing as all the rest of us in terms of not needing any kind of facilitator for his communication. He can say what he wants, and you have the choice to listen to him or not. But he can independently send a message into the world.
Do you remember what this one says? Well, in order for us to hear it, you have to speak it.
Can I help?
Can I help?
His software is very sophisticated.
This is his communication system, and his language board is his backup.
Because then he controls his communication.
Hello, and continue.
And he's not dependent on the willingness of a listener.
He has 3 separate text-to-speech programs, one for each language, one that interprets the Russian letters, one that interprets the English, and one that interprets the Hebrew.
Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor.
It's good to know for other people that if you have any kind of disability, whatever is holding you back, there's no reason to give up. You can overcome anything, absolutely anything. You cannot overcome anything. What? You do. You are very, very able.
9:15 to 10:15, we're going to do reading. Okay? Mike, Zach, and Andy, one group. Gene, Dennis, and Rose, another group. Okay? We might do some switching around.
I never knew anything about cerebral palsy at all. I never saw a person with cerebral palsy. You see, in Soviet Union back then, you couldn't see handicapped people on the street. They created this beautiful picture that everybody is happy and healthy. Because, as I found out later, after Eugene's birth, that all handicapped people was institutionalized without any possibility of any kind of education.
Ready? Mrs. Brown went to her scheduled doctor's appointment. You have 2. Mrs. Brown asked, 2 what? 2 babies. You're going to have twins.
If he would stay there, Eugene wouldn't be able to get treatment, he wouldn't be able to get any education at all. He would have to be either institutionalized or somebody would have to stay at home all the time. And the way we lived on the 4th floor. He would have to stay at home and in bed probably most of the time without even any adaptive sitting system, because he cannot hold his body on his own.
All right. Now, then you can use your touch talker and Gene, your device. I want you to tell me the story back.
Hey,
Doctor.
Sound. We're looking for the
Doc.
road.
Tour. What's the next sound? Doc. Tour. What's the next sound in doctor?
Sound.
Yeah, DOC, that's correct.
Road.
Doc. Doctor. Doctor. This kind of time to output sentences is not practical. The effort that it takes, the fact that most people aren't going to stick around for 15 minutes or even 3 minutes, and the fact that Gene is smart enough to, obviously, perceive when people are getting itchy and they want to leave, and I think that he falls back to his other communication methods, which would be his language board or glancing at things,
and
trying
people
to cue,
and people guessing, basically, yes, no.
which is functional for Gene.
Right.
In other words, if he's in a hall and somebody's in a rush and he needs you to untie his shoe, is he going to take 5 minutes to compose, please untie my shoe, thank you? Or is he just going to look down at his shoe?
Concerns me, even though I just came into the project to work with him on the Hebrew part in preparation for his bar mitzvah, but now that I've gotten to know him and I'm attached to him, and my own concern is how we can all help him to generate language more. This is the future for him, is to be able to communicate.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'etateh b'tznitzit.
Amen.
Amen.
Every adolescent wants to be independent. Now, it's pretty tricky to be independent when you need someone to physically do everything for you.
So when Eugene's power chair breaks down, how does that change his life?
Certainly he's not at all independent. He as far as mobility, he has to have somebody push him around everywhere. And otherwise, if he's in his power chair, he's free to come and go wherever he wants. If he wants to go to the front and just sit and look out the window, he can do that. If he wants to come back here and look out the window, if he wants to come back here and push chairs and close the doors so all the PTs are locked in here, he can do that. And he doesn't have that option. If he wants to seek somebody out and talk to them, he can't do that. He has to call somebody when they're walking by or ask them, I have to, please take me. It's very frustrating, right, Eugene? I know.
For most of the physically challenged students we have, they will need at least 16 hours of attendant care a day, because we're talking about somebody who can't wipe their nose. And that's the other issue that they grapple with, the fact that they are so physically dependent, that wanting to take a sip of water, needing to go to the bathroom, that wanting to wear your pink sweater rather than your green sweater today. These are things that many times takes a great deal of effort to even to be able to communicate, and then you are at the mercy, so to speak, of the other people you communicate that to have them meet that need or find someone to meet that need.
Too high? Yes, a little too high.
How's your joystick doing? Is there a certain thing that you want to talk to me about? Does it have to do with your joystick?
What I'm going to do is go call your dad, and from what I understand, what it seems to be right now, Gene, is it's just the batteries. Okay, if it is just the batteries and we get 2 new batteries tomorrow, you should be all set. Because the joystick will be repaired, everything will be set.
Is that what it is, the batteries?
Again.
I'm just crossing my way right now. Okay, fine. You got everybody here.
What? There you go.
Cover the battery.
What? Whenever you got, now you can eat it. What? Fighting together.
This is really great. Now you're going to be able to have power for your chair. You can go up to the bima. This is really good news.
Now you can eat everything.
Are you happy? Good.
Eugene, like many of our students, one of the few ways they are going to be able to do the things that they want to in life is by having a circle of friends and a networking system that will help facilitate them doing what it is they in fact want to do. And I had hoped that by getting him more connected with the Jewish community, he would in fact develop this type of network that would be able to help him ongoingly.
Tears may linger for a night, but joy will come with the dawn. I once thought while at ease nothing can shake my security. Favor me and I am a mountain of strength. Hide your face, O Lord, and I am terrified. To you, Adonai, would I call, before Adonai would
כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר. מתנשא ותדל 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 שמי קודשה אלא מכל מחתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דבירן מעולמו וימרו אמן. רוממו אדוני רוממו רוממו אדוני רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
The way that you celebrate becoming a bar mitzvah is by reading the Torah and by teaching people what the Torah is saying that day. But we don't read the Torah every day. We only read it on special days, on holidays, and on Shabbat. And we would be reading the Torah that day even if you weren't having your bar mitzvah. You're just going to be reading the Torah for the community, for the congregation. So we have to think about why that's a special day. It's not just going to be special because it's your bar mitzvah. It's a special day for all the Jewish people all over the world. And the name of the day is Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is the first sliver of the moon after a day or two of total darkness. It represents a birth of new life, a new beginning, a fresh start.
And months, Eugene took every one of the letters in his Torah portion and in his blessings. Everything that you hear today was created by Eugene Chernyakhovsky.
Okay, Gene, today we're going to do the first sentence. This is the first verse of your Torah portion. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. And God said to Moses, saying, and he spoke to Moses saying. So let's do the first word today. Okay? The first letter is what? It's a Vav. Let's go over to the Vav.
He literally wrote every Hebrew letter, consonant and vowel, into the computer.
Okay, and now we need the patach under here, that little tiny line. Great.
Essentially, he became his own Bible scribe. and his wheelchair portable computer became a portable ark. It wasn't recorded some time ago by some other person, but it was put in by the toe of Eugene Chernyakhovsky. He's the guy that put the toe into Torah. You might say he's a scribe.
The ramp symbolizes inclusion. And whether it's a wooden ramp that brings people up to the bima, or whether it's an emotional ramp of acceptance, it allows people to be accepted and not excluded. And my feeling is that people have a right to be involved in their heritage, and there should be nothing, physical or emotional, that would keep them from being part of their heritage.
When we came to this country, the only hope what we had, what we knew it was about his health, about him to become better physically, We never was involved in spiritual stuff. We never learned Hebrew or Judaism.
Baruch hu et Adonai Kamevarach.
Baruch Adonai Kamevarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Kamevarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Alekeinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Chamim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Naten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, Savel b'nei Yisroel ve'amarta aleihem, et karboni lakli laisha reach likopi tishmeru le'akri li be'moado ve'amarta lahem le'aishem asher takrivu Adonai Kelasim b'nei shana telibim Shnayim layom olam tamid.
The way Eugene was born, I was 19 years old, very young. I was taken to the hospital in Kiev. They didn't have any doctors on duty except a student. And took one look at my Star of David that I was wearing. My brother gave it to me as a wedding present, and he refused to deliver Eugene. He just walked away from me. The nurse came, and she told me, it's going to take you a long time, it's a first child. And she went to sleep. She slept for a couple of hours, she visited me again, and she said, how you feel? I said, I don't know if I feel anything at all. So she gave me some shot to induce labor, and she left again. And I found out later the child had to be delivered immediately after getting this kind of a shot. But Eugene wasn't delivered immediately, she went to sleep, back to sleep. He knows all the story. And then I was screaming for help, asking somebody to help me. And another doctor walked in, the one that knew me when I used to be in medical school, when I was a student. I still was a student at that time. And he asked me what's going on, and I told him what happened. And he didn't even put on his robe, he didn't even change. He just pushed Eugene out with his hands. And Eugene was blue. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. The cord was wrapped around his neck. He didn't breathe for 7 minutes. And the only reason for what happened to Eugene was that he wasn't delivered in time. All the doctors agree on it, Otherwise, there wouldn't be no problems whatsoever. He was full term. He was 3.5 kilograms. He was a big baby, beautiful baby. Вы когда-то могли себе представить, что вы приедете сюда, у вас будет два внука, которые учат хивру, учат еврейскую историю, религию, и будут иметь бар-мицву?
Никогда.
Never. Never could imagine anything like that.
Нас настолько отстраняли от всего еврейского, что мы никак не могли себе этого представить.
Mom said that they was all of us was pushed away so much from Judaism and Jewish religion and religion, you know, altogether, that they never imagined anything like that.
I go to Hebrew school, so I can learn Hebrew, how to read it, and to have a bar mitzvah like my brother did.
In the beginning, it was okay. It was easier than it is right now because he was smaller, and physically it was easier for me. Right now, it's scary. I'm scared right now. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, maybe another half a year. Another year the most, I'm going to be able to take care of Eugene by myself. And what's next? No, I cannot afford attendant care. No insurance is covering it. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I cannot institutionalize Eugene. I'm not going to give him up or not.
I do my homework here. Over there I have my karate belts and my size. Up here I sleep up here. Gene sleeps down here.
It's scary for me, it's scary for him. Sometimes we cry together. Sometimes Eugene have this outbreaks, you know, that he would just cry and look at his legs, you know, and look at McChills and ask everybody to get out from the house so he can have this time for himself, and he stays with me and nobody else, you know. He just cried there, expressing, you know, trying to express his feelings about everything. And a couple of months ago it was that bad that I needed somebody else's help, you know, to deal with it. I asked Gene if he wants me to call Rabbi to come and call somebody else, you know, just to come and help us to get through it. But we did, and it took a couple of hours, and we talked a lot. We cried a lot and we talked a lot.
People sometimes make fun of my brother. I get really mad. Also, when I just moved here, people were beating me up because, and they were making fun of my brother because I said, I was telling them, like, be quiet, don't talk about my brother, and I was getting beat up almost every single day. Mikey, be quiet.
Your turn.
Then make a curl around your friend's face, huh?
Okay, stop. Take it off. But this is thicker.
Beautiful.
Wow. You got it in? No way across. Oh, man. Man, that's so close.
Beautiful shot.
I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's in store. I would love to know. We're just taking day by day, you know, just trying to live one day at a time.
Gene could probably live in my house, so I'm planning on being a doctor.
What kind of doctor do you want to be?
I'm not sure yet. Either a surgeon or a plastic surgeon.
And what made you want to be a doctor?
Probably because my mom was a doctor in Russia, or actually a nurse.
I don't know, somewhere deep inside, I see Gene and the role of rabbi for handicapped people. I don't know, something, you know, maybe I'm going too wild with my imagination, but it's because he does bring some kind of light into the people.
My own father couldn't speak at the end of his life. He had amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease. And he was a professor, a lawyer, he had a lot to say, and he knew that he was dying. And that gave me a lot of frustration. And at that time, 1968, there were no portable computers. And all he could do was squeeze my hand for the last several months of his life. When I was young, we used to go for walks, and I'd hold his hand, he'd squeeze my hand, and he'd say, "Johnny, this means I love you. You can talk without speaking." And I think probably we don't need speech to communicate a lot of the things that we have to communicate. But in this world, our traditions are built around speech.
What bothers you the most about not being able to speak and you have to use a board or a computer? 1, you, 3, go. 6, 0, work. If you would ever be able to go to work, you think communicating would be hard without having speech. It takes so long for you to get your message out. 1, you. 3, go. 6, 0, work. You go work. 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 4, John. That's why you really want to go to work with John. F, 1, A, S, T, fast. You could be fast. You wouldn't have to worry about being fast. Yes.
You know, it's not a matter of feeling sorry for some handicapped boy who has some pathetic disability. Quite on the contrary, I think it's a matter of seeing yourself in Eugene. And what Gene is doing is tikkun olam, preparing the world.
Today is Rosh Chodesh. It is the first day of the Hebrew month of Iyar. It is a new moon. Today is one of the most special days of my life. I am reading Torah, singing blessings, and teaching. I am doing the things that a Jewish adult does. Each month, the moon grows, then it gets smaller. Finally, it disappears, and the sky is black. When it is dark, people are afraid. When the new moon comes, we are happy. There is new life and new light. This year, there has been something new in my life. I have learned the Hebrew alphabet, and I have learned about Judaism. I have learned more and more about myself and my tradition, and I want to keep learning. As I become a man, my light, too, is beginning to shine. There are many places in this world which are still dark. There is the darkness of fear, of hunger, and of war. I would like my light to shine on those dark places. I would like to go to Kiev, in Ukraine, the place where I was born, and bring my light to the people there. I want to make sure they have enough food. I want to bring them the light of peace. To my friends and family who speak Russian, I wish to say this. Я очень рад, что вы пришли разделить со мной сегодня мой праздник. Я вас всех люблю, и я очень благодарен вам за вашу любовь и поддержку. Я рад, что я могу вам это сказать на русском языке. Большое, большое спасибо.
I think there are probably a lot of people who came here today who were a little bit afraid, who didn't know what to expect, and who probably thought about someone who has cerebral palsy or isn't able to speak or is quadriplegic as somehow not as fully human as people who are able-bodied, and who realized after meeting him and hearing him and seeing what he was able to do that he is just like them in the most important way.
Sharon's community, Jewish community, is known from Batam, Israel, the greatest people I ever met. Very inviting, very generous. You know, great, big, beautiful hearts. They just accepted us like a family.
I feel great when I saw it today, the way he did it. It was no stops almost in his performance, and you know, it's just probably more than just his work. It's coming from inside, and I'm glad he found his way. I'm glad he found his hope, why he has to live.
I don't know, but one thing for sure is that I'm very proud of Gene.
Well, everybody saw me crying over there. It was very emotional, and I was proud. I was just proud that he could make that accomplishment and see the end results.
I want to thank all the people who helped me become a bar mitzvah. To all of you who are here today, thank you for believing I could do this.
What makes you feel so good and happy about the synagogue? Two, 1, 2. Wheelchair. You can go up. It's wheelchair accessible. Yes. So it makes you happy to be able to go to a synagogue and participate. Be able to go up to the bima What happens after the bar mitzvah? You know, after all of the glory, after all of the recognition, after being in the limelight like that, what's going to happen to Eugene as a person? Is he going to just sort of become depressed and go into a shell, or will he continue to be as motivated and energetic as ever before? Was this the one thing to make him more motivated? And I guess that's something that we all are waiting to see, is, you know, life after the bar mitzvah.
Shall we open up your gift from Beth Am Israel?
Just think of it. He died 7 minutes lying there without breathing. I can imagine his soul returning to heaven, saying, hey, I don't want to die just yet. I've got something to do. And the angel saying, well, Gene, you know, you're not going to be able to walk. You're not going to be able to talk. You're not going to be able to move your hands. Other people will dress you, take you to the bathroom, feed you. And he said, well, I still have work to do. I'll find the way to express myself and let people know who I am and what my message is. And today he said, like the moon becoming dark and suddenly shining light. Yes, you thought I died, but I didn't. I still have a light to shine.
I became bar mitzvah in 1992, I have continued to learn about Judaism. I continue to study Torah. I celebrate the Jewish holidays with my family. I have been attending Jewish high school at Gratz College for 2 years. I was happy to see my little brother Mitchell become bar mitzvah this year.
I welcome you to the seminary. This is a very nice day for us. I'm so pleased you were able to come with your family.
Thank you for inviting me.
I am looking forward to seeing the film. I've only seen fragments of the film. So mazel tov. Mazel tov.
Good afternoon, family and friends. I think that today is a good time for us all to sing a Jewish song together. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi,
Eugene's name is Chernyakhovsky. That is a name that resonates with power in modern Hebrew literature. For one of the great shapers of modern Hebrew poetry was Shaul Chernyakhovsky. Chernyakhovsky the poet and Eugene Chernyakhovsky the hero are kindred souls, for they ultimately believe in the power of the individual. Eugene's story reminds me of the credo of Shaul Chernyakhovsky's philosophy of life. Sachki al ha-chalamot, zu ani ha-cholem sach. Sachki ki va'adam amin, ki odeni mamin bach. You may mock me for my dreams, but I am the dreamer who speaks. You may mock me because I believe in the human being. I still believe in you. Eugene's story is an affirmation of human will, the power to change our immediate reality. It is a testimony to the strength of the human will.